Good morning and welcome to the latest Facebook Live from Minerva Growth, where our aim is to bring value to business owners around the globe on topics that are useful to them right now, but also in the future. So, good morning, Stephen.
Good morning.
Thank you for
How are you?
agreeing to be part of the live chat. I am good, thank you.
Excellent.
Do you want to introduce yourself and also your business, please?
Certainly, yeah. So I'm Steve Woods. I'm a hypnotist. And as a hypnotist, I work in particular in the performance areas. And that's not me performing, that's me helping other people perform better.
Very interesting. So, yeah, there's so many questions I've got already for you, but I won't. We'll come on to that after. How did you get started? It's quite a unique field to be in. So how the heck did you get started in this?
It's quite common for people who do what I do to have made use of hypnotherapy, so made use of the services of a hypnotist, hypnotherapist. I suppose I was slightly different in that I was in retail 30 plus years ago, working for Dixon's Electrical, of all places, and a group of us went on our evening out. We saw a stage hypnotist show. We bought some self-hypnosis tapes back then on what we would call resilience now, but that sort of recovery from rejection. Working in Dixon's Electrical, there was plenty of rejection from when you were trying to sell tellies and things. So yeah, and that made a difference. Confidence, things like that made a difference. And it was interesting because I noticed that I didn't notice a difference in me, if that makes sense. So there wasn't, but there was, and other people noticed that, and I noticed a difference in other people. And that was enough to get me intrigued, bought some books, learned how to stick people's bums to seats and drinks to bars and things like that. And then did nothing more than till 15 years ago, went out and got what I describe as my first proper qualification and onwards from there.
Okay, so what is hypnosis? We're going to have to hit it because we've had this conversation. We've obviously known each other about 4 years, I reckon it is now. So apologise for that. But there's obviously a lot of fear out there in what hypnosis is, and what the effects and what powers that people can have. So, in a nutshell, what is hypnosis?
Hypnosis is focus. So hypnosis isn't being controlled. Somebody who's really deeply hypnotized in hypnosis, they never lose control. They never give up awareness, but they're very focused on what they're doing. We like to think of it as relaxation and talk about it as relaxation, even talk about the end of the hypnosis session as a wake up, as people waking up from it, because there's no better way. I've heard people talk about emergence from hypnosis, which I don't like. So we still use wake up, never asleep. It's a really high focus on relaxation at first, because that's good for us, and then focus on whatever it is that person is then working on. So yeah, it's to me, it is absolutely that.
And how does it happen? How do you do it?
So it is, yeah, go on.
You can have the old watch there swinging on the chain.
I've left it upstairs, so I'm not going to watch it. No, you could use, as often as it sounds, you can use a point of focus. So there's various ways of getting people into hypnosis. I was speaking to somebody yesterday. One of my first books that I bought was 50 induction scripts to get your client into hypnosis, or whatever it was termed. And that was all about assessing the person. So you spent the whole session assessing them, and then you decide which script to use. And the scripts had all sorts of different methods in there. Now I use just one method. It's the same method for everybody. Very occasionally I might vary it if there's a specific need to vary it. And that is, again, a focus. It's getting somebody to concentrate on feeling, physical feeling. So relaxation wise, again, it comes down to that relaxation, but a focus on relaxation and imagining relaxing sensors moving through them, those sort of things. And as I say, if somebody, so I had one client a little while ago now, and they said, oh, I think it'll work better if I focus on a dot on the wall. Fine, we'll use a dot on the wall then. I'm not going to go, why would I go against what they believe is the right way for them to do it? Because I'll just utilize that. But mostly it's a standard process for everybody.
Okay, so obviously in lockdown as we are now, thankfully we start to come out of it. How do you still get that message across? How can you work with clients in a lockdown environment?
Luckily, I suppose, because so I mean, obviously my groups that I'm a member of, they call them tribes nowadays, the groups of people I'm a member of, other hypnotherapists, a lot of them had to convert to working online. Originally, my unique selling point was always home visits. I always visited people at home, or of course at work if they were in an office anyway. But I'd already started to shift. Last year, I was getting fed up of sitting in the traffic around Birmingham between clients, although it was good for listening to podcasts and keeping up with things like that. But it was taking too much time. So I started to shift into Zoom sessions anyway. It's just as effective over Zoom. There are some subtle differences in the way I have to work with somebody over Zoom, but it's very much about still getting that, getting them to notice that they're hypnotized. If I'm working with somebody in the same room, I'll do some hypnotic phenomena because I want them to know they're hypnotized. That might be their arm levitating, or them just imagining something happening. Obviously, you can't do that as easy over Zoom. But it's still getting somebody to notice that they feel different. So for me, the way I work didn't really change with lockdown. I was already working with about 8 out of 10, 80% of people on Zoom anyway. The difficult bit was the networking, and because often I would meet people and speak with them, and that's where a lot of my business comes from. And I then had to embrace the Zoom networking. That was the big change, I think, for me.
Okay, so what difference can it make what difference can hypnosis make to people's performance? What can it make difference to my performance?
So yeah, but performance-wise is what I enjoy, and I enjoy that because I enjoy that journey from A to B with somebody. Yes, it might be weight loss or stopping smoking and things like that, but actually I enjoy the bigger package of moving somebody from, so let's say golf. I've got the golf thing behind me. Golf is a really good performance area, a really good mindset area for hypnosis. So a golfer might want to lose some weight. They might want to stop smoking. They might want to change a lot of other things.
The joys of working from home. Someone at the door. Keep going.
Tell me about it. Yeah. So you move through various stages to get them. So, but that then performance side can be anything. And I would say to people with hypnosis, if you can imagine a change, imagine a goal, or you can imagine being rid of a problem, then you can use hypnosis. So if somebody can imagine performing better in their business, that might be cold calling, that might be making videos and doing these Facebook Lives and things that somebody's just that too frightened of doing. And it's, so if they can imagine themselves doing that and the results of what that is, then they can use hypnosis. And the important bit is the results. So it's not just that, oh, I can do a live video. It's actually, what's that going to mean to you? What's the end result of the live videos? Oh, well, that might mean I'm going to earn £20,000 more in a year. Oh, okay, so what are you going to spend that on? I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. I can retire 10 years earlier, whatever it might be. So it's not just the now, it's not just this little bit of doing more videos, it's the end result. And then by getting the end result in that headspace, and when you're hypnotized, when you're in that deep focus, it's really real. You can taste the food that you're eating in retirement. You see all those things, feel them, touch them. So then the mind goes, well, actually that feels as though it's real. It's a real experience now. And so then it starts to put everything together that you need to do, because you know what you need to do to get there, but there's something stopping you at that point. And it goes, well, actually, in order to get to there, I need to do these things right now. And you just feel motivated and able to do them. Enabled to do them is probably a better way to look at it. So you just feel enabled to make those changes because that's going to carry you to that end result. And that to me is that performance change. So it might be health and phobias and all sorts of other things involved, better sleep, but it's still performing better in some way. You do some work around the videos, of course, around the specific thing, but it's very much about that end result to me, and the getting the mind excited. Subconscious mind doesn't care whether it's a memory, whether it's happening now or whether it's something you're imagining. When you're working in that automatic part of your mind, the emotional part of your mind, it just knows it's an experience. So it feels that you've already reached that end result and does everything it needs to do to get you there.
Very interesting. So is it a one-off, or do you have to have a course of hypnosis? How is it called a course? I have no idea. How does it work? What's the best way of getting the most out of it, maximizing the experience, shall we say, or the treatment?
No, it's good question. So I believe that for a start, hypnosis isn't a fragile process. Again, when I first started learning from books, I learned that everything had to be 5 sessions. So it's a course of 5 sessions to get to something. But then I found that when I was doing it, people were ready at 3 sessions in some cases, and then they'd say, well, what am I going to do for the next 2 sessions? So it's not a fragile process. It doesn't have to be scripted. As an example, this week somebody's contacted me. There's a specific issue they want to deal with. Now, I would normally recommend a course of 3 sessions, but for some reason they just want to do a single session. That's fine. I'll gear that around a single session. but ideally we need to do some more afterwards. So most things are a course of 3 sessions, but if somebody who maybe needs to do a few different things to get to that end result, that might be over a couple of months, that might be 8 sessions. So there is structure there, but it's also, as I say, not fragile. So it can be built around what somebody's able to do time-wise, physical-wise, money-wise even as well, because it's better to help somebody to some degree, rather than go, well, it's going to cost you this much money for this course and they haven't got it. Okay, let's work together to find a way to get you somewhere. Because the thing is, once they start to get the results, particularly in performance, they'll generally start to earn more money, they'll start to have a more focus, and then they can add on and start to do the rest of it. I don't believe, I was speaking to somebody the other day, and they made a statement of they've been having hypnotherapy for 15 years, and they said every week. Now, that's, to me, not healthy, because that's not a good way of doing things. The way I want to work with people, and the way I do work with people, is you move them from A to B, you make it self-fulfilling. Yes, a year down the line, there might be a C that they want to get to, and then a D, that's great, but they don't have to. It's not, I don't want people to be reliant on what the way that we're working. That's not good for anybody.
I was going to say 15 years and once a week, surely it's not working. It's not, something's not quite right if you're needing that much of it every single week for 15 years. My God. That's a heck of a process. You've mentioned quite a few things. Obviously, you've got the golf behind you. So what can you do for golfers? How can you make a difference for golf?
So golf is really interesting from a mindset, because, and somebody said this yesterday, I was at a networking event, we were talking about their golf game, and they said to me, it's almost like a magnet is drawing me away from where I want to be. I think about those trees, I think about that bunker, I think about the rough over there, and then there's a magnet drawing me to it. And that's very much what sums up the mindset around golf. We think about the things that we're trying to miss, the things that they want to avoid, and then the attention is drawn to those. It's a bit like a child with a glass of water. If you said to them, don't spill the water, don't spill the water, they generally spill the water in order to try and avoid not spilling the water, because they have to think about that thing that you've just put in there. So if I'm thinking, oh, I don't want to go into that bunker over there, guess what? There's a magical force that seems to drift because you're thinking about it. But also it can be real. There's a lot of things in golf where I worked with a man last year, a golfer last year, who had the shanks. Now, the shanks is something that golfers don't talk about because it's contagious. If you talk about the shanks and think about having the shanks, you're going to start shanking because you're thinking about it all the time. And a lot of that is around that. So golf is a real mindset game. And also, if you think too much, there's a lot going off in the golf swing. And if you spend too much time trying to think about that, again, you're intervening with the natural process. So the sort of people I work with have already reached a level where they're getting some good games. They're not beginners, because I don't teach golf. I don't teach the techniques. What I do is I take what they've learned and what they know, and I get them to take those moments where they've had really good golf games, or really good, even just a single golf shot that's been absolutely brilliant, and take all that and go, okay, now you can start to use that every time you swing the club, every time you take a shot or putt or whatever you're doing. So it's a really, you get really quick results. I've worked with golf teams before they've gone out. So charity golf days, I've done like a 20-minute session, and it's brilliant just to see them go out with that completely different mindset. And I think the golf side feeds me as well, because it is that really quick change. And a big believer in certainly moving forward is working with things that I enjoy, things that excite me, things that are good for me as well as good for the people I work with. That means that I'm not going to turn down the stop smokers and the weight loss and things that I'm dealing with, particularly at the moment. There's loads of people not sleeping and anxiety and things. I'm not going to turn those down, but my focus is on that performance, in particular golf, but that can then be used for any sport and business as well.
It's very interesting. So you reeled off a few different areas where you can help and support people. Is there an exhaustive list, or is it just, completely open?
It's pretty much open, because again, it's that if you can see yourself without a problem or see yourself achieving a goal, then you can use hypnosis to make that change. I might need to do a little bit of research if somebody comes along with something that I've not dealt with before, I might have to do a little bit of research around that. And also, the thing I haven't mentioned is children. I've got a client at the moment, a young lad who's 7 and working on his confidence in school. And again, that's not hypnosis as we would do it. If I was hypnotizing you or anybody else as a grown up, it's very different, but it's still that focus. I'm still getting him to focus on things that make him happy and excited and bring a big smile to his face, and then using that feeling into school, into other areas where he needs to do it. So no, there's really nothing. I don't think there's anything that you can't use hypnosis to help in some way. It's not a cure. It's not a magical cure. But even with health issues, with physical things, and this isn't making light of them, but we make them worse. You know, I've got a bit of a bad shoulder at the moment. If I think about my bad shoulder all the time and think about all the things I can't do without making it hurt, I'm actually making it worse. I'm drawing all my attention and energy to it, and I'm making it worse. So for me to then not think about that shoulder, not to be unaware of it, because I don't want to do anything that will damage it, of course. And I saw some figures, and there's no real way of measuring it, but they think we could potentially make things up to 80% worse than they are. And a lot of the things we think about as well never actually happen as well. Fears and phobias and things like that have never actually happened to us. So there's lots of things going off there, which means that you can use hypnosis to help it to say achieve a goal or to release an issue. So
is it possible to hypnotize yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can there's a few ways you can do it. I learnt, excuse me, I learnt self-hypnosis 15 plus years ago. I sort of read about it, but I learnt it on my first proper face-to-face course back then. And I still do it in very much the same way, and I still get that feeling. And it's a bit like a power nap. There's a few ways you can do it. You can do it with a recording. You can do it so the recording then is quite specific in the way that it's working. Or you can just do a little bit of just shut down, just that. It's almost like having a bit of a power nap as well. So there's a few ways you can do it. So if I want to work on something specific, I might make a recording around that. If I want to work on some strategies, maybe some getting some focus in the business, I might make myself a recording, half an hour or so. I tend not to make recordings too long, whether they're for me or anybody else, because people won't take time to listen to them then. 20 minutes, 25 minutes is about the maximum time for me for doing self-hypnosis.
So what's the difference between hypnosis and meditation? Meditation is a big thing. It seems to be a massively growing market. It's something I've looked at over the years and try and do. I don't do it as regularly as I want to or need to. But obviously it's quite important having that morning routine, especially for performance business. That's the kind of stuff I talk about on a daily basis. So is there a relationship between the two?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's more down to the physical feeling. So that sort of shutting down feeling. So if somebody comes to me, they've never done hypnosis, but they're really good at meditating or get good results with meditating, good feeling of meditation, they'll tend to be a good hypnotic subject, because the mind will go, I don't really know what to expect, but I'm guessing it's going to be like this meditation feeling. So they get that same sort of sinking down feeling. To me, the meditation there are guided meditations, of course, as well. And if you get to the guided meditations, then you're in a very similar realm to hypnosis. So you could use self-hypnosis to just go to a really nice place. It might be the back garden today, it's beautiful outside, or a beach or somewhere, which might be then the same as a guided meditation. And you get that same clarity, that same shutdown, that same relaxation. So then they are very much the same, but you tend not to get a meditation that's business focused or business performance meditation. Yes, you might choose to do it yourself while you're meditating, but not necessarily a guided one. So to me, the hypnosis is a bit more direct, but as I say, I would definitely say there's a relationship, yes.
It's interesting. Never heard you describe it like that, but you're absolutely right. Yeah, that's really cool. So very interesting. I could talk about this for hours. How, if people want to reach out and learn more about what you can do and how you could potentially help them, what are the people's methods of getting in contact with you or finding out more?
Okay. Yep. So I do a free consultation for people. So if somebody's wanting to know more about it, obviously online at the moment, you can book a 30-minute consultation, which involves talking about your goals. So there's a few questions when you book in. I'll put the links for these in the comments in the Facebook Live a little bit later as well. But so you can book that in. We talk about your goals, talk about hypnosis, and you get to do a 10-minute or so little bit of hypnosis online just to get that experience of it particularly. Although the last few people who've done it this week have already been in a group session where I've done that and we haven't done the 10-minute bit. They've gone, no, that's fine, I've done that. I know what it's like, so let's just book in and do it. And I also do a free download as well. So 12-minute, so we're talking about self-hypnosis, 12-minute recording, just to get into a nice place, just to get some relaxation. Really good as that power nap in the day. So I'll put the link to that in there. And I'm on social media. I'm Steve Hypnosis or Steve Hypnotist, depending on which social media you're on. I think most of them are on Steve Hypnosis. Quite happy to just have a chat with people, because I accept, you said at the beginning, it's a bit scary for people. People particularly don't know that you can use it for performance. People think of it as stopping smoking and weight loss and those sort of things. So the more people I can talk to about it and explain about it, the better. So I'm doing a lot of networking as well around that and making lots of awareness work. So quite happy to book those sessions, those 30-minute sessions for people.
Cool, fantastic. So any last words of advice, any words of wisdom from Steve Woods before we break this?
I think what I'm seeing at the moment with people who are booking in with anxiety and sleep issues is that we particularly right now need to spend more time just being kind to ourselves. We're a lot of people, we're beating ourselves up. The situation is what it is, and there's not a lot we can do about it. There are some things we can do, but don't sit there all day sort of beating yourself up about it. Be kind to yourself, give yourself a bit of, give yourself a break really, and just, it's okay. Things are where they are, but it is okay, and we will come out of this to something. As we do, we're quite resilient as human beings are quite resilient, as we've seen nature being really resilient around us. So yeah, just be nice to ourselves, just be kind to ourselves.
Amazing. Okay, well, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate that. Really insightful. Really good use of time. And I recommend anyone. As I said at the beginning, I've known you for about 4 years. We've done quite a bit of work together. Whether focus on business owners or personally as well. So it does work. I'm a real convert from being absolutely petrified of the whole thing to the sorts of turnarounds it can give you as well. It is massively impactful on your performance. So I recommend anyone to reach out and just find out a bit more. So thank you for that. Thanks for your time. Have a great day.
Thank you, and you.